Hi Vivian, it's Jason here. Just going to take a second to post a quick response to your question about the questions about non-disclosure and fraud with respect to Bill and Julia. So these are questions that I get a lot of questions about. In fact, you're the second person today to ask me about these questions. So the first question, what your question 2 is, and for those of you that have them in different numbers, just have a look at the question that Vivian has posted, and you'll see that her question 2 is the question in which Bill answers no to the smoking question and signs the application. Now, this should not happen. In a perfect world, what would happen here is Julia would say, Bill, if you do that, you're going to find that the insurer could later on deny your claim. So you don't want to get yourself into trouble. Say yes and sign the application honestly. But hopefully that's happened in this case, and nonetheless Bill still has not taken Julia's advice, so Bill's going to sign the application. He's going to provide misleading information to the insurance company. This would be fraud. This is one of the few instances where the insurance company will typically successfully argue that fraud was committed. So if that should happen, of course, then we have a denial of claim later on, and really the whole purpose of the insurance is undone. Now, Julia has presumably done her part, and certainly the applications for insurance will always include a statement to the effect that if you make a misleading statement, it could nullify any claims that you would submit later on. So Bill's been warned, at least by the application and probably by Julia as well. Nonetheless, he chooses to go this dishonest route and fill out the application. So in this case, Julia's responsibility now, because she's fulfilled her responsibility to Bill, is to say to the insurer, I believe your client's been dishonest with you, and I would consider whether you want to proceed with this application or not. And in a case like this, Julia would use the agent's comments section of the application. She would indicate why she suspects that Bill's been dishonest, and probably Bill would not get insurance issued. It's most likely that would be the case. He's probably not the kind of risk you want. It represents a fairly substantial moral risk to the insurance company, taking on folks that are willing to lie about this. Who knows what else he would lie about on the application then. This is different than what you pose as your question 4, Vivian, question 4 on your quiz. What happens here is Bill has not yet signed the application, so the scenario is different. So because Bill hasn't yet signed the application, here Julia's responsibility is really to say, look, Bill, you want to tell the truth, because if you don't tell the truth, then you're going to have a problem later on with the insurance company. They're not going to pay a claim. So Julia's immediate responsibility, and that's the question here, is the immediate responsibility. She does, it's true, have a responsibility to both insurer and insured all the way along. That's that dual responsibility of a life insurance agent. But her particular responsibility here is to make sure that Bill knows if things go wrong, if he gives wrong information and there's a problem with it later on, it could jeopardize any claims that might be paid. I hope that helps, Vivian. I hope for those of you that have questions about these 2 questions, which is very common, you see first off that they are different questions. They deal with different scenarios, although nearly identical, and they do pose different questions based on the problem at hand, but they are very similar, and it's very common to run into confusion here. They're difficult questions on their own, and made more difficult by the fact that the scenarios or the questions themselves are so very similar. You will run into this kind of thing on the provincial exam, by the way. You will run into questions where it seems like it's 2 identical or very nearly identical questions. So keep your eye open for that. Make sure you do read the whole question. I know that in the advice that I provide, I ask you to read the question first, the thing at the very end, but here you're going to have to go through and read very carefully the question stem, the information provided before the actual question, right at the end of the question stem. So thanks very much, Vivian, and good luck. Thanks.